In this episode of Podcastification, why audio editing and professional sounding audio really matter. My name is Carey Green, and I am the client happiness guy at podcastfasttrack.com, and this is Podcastification. This show is all about podcasting. How to do it, how not to do it, best practices, interesting news items that have to do with the realm of podcasting, and who knows what else. And I'm trying to do it all with a little bit of fun and some information to help you get a show going, keep yours going, or make it better. And if you like what's going on here on the show, I would appreciate it, so appreciate it, if you could leave a rating or review on iTunes. You can find out how to do that at podcastfasttrack.com/review. That's enough of that kind of stuff. Let's get you podcastificated right away. I believe that audio editing is a must for your podcast. Now, you'd expect to hear this from a guy who edits podcast audio for a living, but I'm saying it anyway. Your audio quality matters. Why? Because it's always been true that first impressions matter. Like it or not, people make quick estimations about the resources that they find on the internet, which means that their first listen to a less than quality podcast might easily be their last. Compare your podcast to a movie. Think about the last C-grade movie that you saw. Did you rush out to find more films by that producer or director? That's doubtful. Did you immediately begin gushing about the movie to your friends and family? That's laughable. You probably told everyone how terrible the movie was. The same thing can happen to a podcast with less than great audio. Your goal should be to make your podcast audio of the quality that people will eagerly rave about it in nothing but glowing terms. You want to be the best, the most accessible, and the most pleasant to listen to. Audio editing is about setting yourself apart. There are so many podcasts to choose from. Last time I checked iTunes, for example, there were over 250,000 shows. How are you going to make your show one of the 5 or 10 that a person wants to listen to regularly? Settling for poor quality audio is an unnecessary wedge between you and a potential fan. And why settle at all when great sounding audio is not all that difficult to attain? Now, okay, there might be a niche audience in some obscure realm of the internet that really doesn't give a hoot whether you record in a studio or in a cave. But you know as well as I do, that's the exception rather than the rule. The average podcast listener will not endure hissing, echoey rooms, pops, harsh S sounds for very long. Not only is it irritating, it can literally cause pain to your ears when headphones or earbuds are being used. Then there's the and the filler words that are so common. I'm not throwing stones, we all do it. Yeah, even me. But why settle for the amateur feeling those speaking habits give to your show when you could remove them? You'd sound more authoritative and professional and make the listening experience easier and more enjoyable. But that's a lot of editing. Yeah, I know you're thinking that. Or maybe you're thinking, doesn't that level of editing make the conversation sound stilted or wooden? You know, like too much makeup on a pretty woman? It doesn't have to. A good editor has the intuition and skill to create the right spacing and pacing to keep that from happening. Maybe you could be that kind of editor. For most podcasters, the problem with what I'm saying is that they don't have the expertise to do their own professional audio editing or the time it takes to develop it. I get that. It's a hard balance to achieve. You've got to make the decision based on your answers to a few important questions. Is this the right timing for me to upgrade the sound of my show? In other words, do you have the time or budget to make it happen? Is the audio quality that you'd receive from professional editing really needed in your case? It may not be. You have to decide. But in the end, you've got to make the choice that is best for your audience. Always keep them in mind. Who are you podcasting for anyway? Approaching it from that perspective is keeping the end user in mind, and that is what drives the connection economy that we live in nowadays. If you stick to your guns about not doing any audio editing simply because you don't care about it or you're too lazy, then you're way too self-absorbed. Get outside yourself. Think about your listener. And if you decide you need help with your audio editing, here's two options. You can do a done-for-you type service like what we provide at Podcast Fast Track, or you can learn the audio editing yourself. If you're interested in doing that, I have a course called Audacity for Podcasting. The beginning module, which has over 10 video lessons, is only 99 cents. Check it out at audacityforpodcasting.com. This show is brought to you by Podcast Fast Track, where my team provides professional podcasting services without the time suck. Full production, editing, and show notes all in one monthly subscription package. You can find out more at podcastfasttrack.com. Now go out and make it a podcastificating day.